I want to bring in Ambassador John Bolton, who was former President Trump's national security advisor. He's also a former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador Bolton, thanks for joining us this morning. President Biden's speech yesterday was largely without incident, but there are still doubts on the future of his campaign. This week, a pivotal week in D.C., how can he try to ease those doubts while he meets with NATO leaders?
Well, I don't think this is really a question of presentation or politics or how he appears when he's reading from a script. I think this is a question of governance, and I think this is going to be very important to hear what the people say about how he behaves in private meetings with the NATO leaders. Look, they have dealt with him for 3 years. They know he's got a problem, and this is a particularly sensitive time. So it's going to be important, but it's not dispositive. It cannot be a good day for Joe Biden when people are still talking about his mental acuity.
You've been to, of course, several NATO meetings with the former president. What goes into a huge high-stakes summit like this? How important is it for the group to project strength this week?
Well, I think it's very important given the conflict in Ukraine, given the growing body of threats around the world. The most important things here are some of the meetings between the heads of states, not the big formal meetings, not the prepared speeches, but what they call bilaterals on the margins of this meeting, where they talk about particular issues of concern to the 2 or 3 or whatever it is heads of state in the room. And that's where up close, no cameras other than an initial photo spray, where they're going back and forth with the American president and making a judgment about whether he's on top of his game. That's what's important. The presidency is not just his public appearances. That can be disastrous, as the debate proved. But what's critical for effective government, for a president really to be leading the country, is what he does in private. Can he think through complex decisions? Is he assimilating facts? Is he getting confused, or can he keep things straight? You don't do that on television, but you hear about it eventually.
There have been a lot of headlines this week of concerns from NATO allies about U.S. stability. Is the concern over Biden's age, or is the concern from our NATO allies over a potential second Trump term?
Well, I think it's both. Look, the people who watched that presidential debate most carefully around the world were people in the Kremlin, people in the Forbidden City in Beijing and in Pyongyang, in Tehran. And I think they saw an American leader that didn't look up to the job. So I think for the next 6 months, at a minimum, people are worried about increased threats. They know that we've already got a bandwidth problem. There's a war in Ukraine. There's a war in the Middle East. We're in, obviously, an intense political campaign. This is a good moment for somebody to take advantage of us. And watching Biden, I think, could encourage them.
Many calling this a possible make or break week for President Biden in D.C. Ambassador John Bolton, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.